What's up, everybody? It's Sid and Millie back with another episode.
Nice.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We just finished watching the Belgian the Belgian Grand Prix for Formula One, and yeah, we're gonna chat about it, chat about our thoughts. Kind of
Yeah,
a lot happened.
it was a race weekend, of course. Nice to have F1 back after a little bit of a week break. And yeah, this Belgian Grand Prix, of course, was a very interesting race for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, we watched it and we're gonna quickly kind of overview it. And basically, all the controversy started on the very first lap.
Literally the first lap, first couple of turns.
Yeah, just
What was happening?
I mean, it came down to the incident really with Russell and Lewis. The Mercedes were slow off the line. Leclerc got past Russell. Lewis was getting past Russell. Lewis is getting into the turn, and Russell kind of comes out of a blind spot through late braking. And again, first lap, so there's tons of cars around, and the two cars make contact. But it was so obviously a racing incident
Yeah,
that did not require a penalty.
we agree.
Just clear as day. So again, highlighting that the FIA is extremely biased, racist, whatever you want to call it, against Lewis Hamilton. It just doesn't make sense. The call was completely out of place. And it's ironic that in the exact same race we were given an identical situation in which Leclerc later on in the race, so not the first lap when all the cars are, packed together, but when there was a lot more space on the track, Leclerc and Piastri had contact because Leclerc was forcing him off the track. And we saw the FIA not give Leclerc a penalty for that action, which was clearly unsafe and could have caused a collision between those two drivers.
Yes, and
bias.
Yes, bias, racism, whatever you want to call it, like fully just against Lewis Hamilton. First of all, fully against Lewis Hamilton.
Yep.
Second of all, Charles clearly had intention behind closing Piastri,
Yep.
behind closing Piastri out of the space and knocking into him.
Yep.
Lewis had a car in front of him, the edge of the track to his right, and Russell to his left,
who came out of a blind spot.
Coming out of a blind spot and literally just closing him out of the track. They're going around a turn.
I know.
Like,
it is
what?
Yeah, it's actually on the first lap. Yeah. Again, it's just
I am baffled.
Yeah, it's just terrible officiating. It is just terrible officiating. And the reality is it cost Lewis a podium. It cost Lewis a chance at the championship. And the reality is it is just piss poor officiating. They have to do better. And the thing is that we see it time and time again. They are targeting Lewis Hamilton.
100%.
It is actually insane. You have the best motorsportist of all time in your sport's history of all time, still racing in your sport. And even though he is the GOAT of your sport, you guys target him for no reason, simply because he's a black man.
Yeah.
It is just mind-blowing to me. And the FIA will never beat the allegations. The president of Formula One, he'll never beat the allegations, because these are the types of things that Hamilton fans yell about and complain about all the time. And it highlights the thing where, as a black person, you literally cannot afford to step out of line. Like, it is insane that he is judged to a different standard than the rest of the racers. And the fact that even George Russell, after the crash, said it was a race incident, even more so speaks volumes, because we all know George Russell is to the letter, to the rule book, to the T, does not mess around with the rules and regulations. He knows the books inside and out. And even George Russell said it is a racing incident, and he was the impacted driver.
Didn't even finish. On the first lap.
On the first lap, screwing up his title aspirations. And despite all of that going against Russell, he still called the incident exactly what it was, a driving incident that should have required no further investigation. So again, the drivers know it, the fans know it, everybody in F1 knows it, except for the stewards. So what does that say about the people who are officiating these races? They are not qualified to be officiating these races.
No.
They need full-time stewards in this sport that are locked into this sport, know the rule book, and this is actually their job. That is what is needed in Formula One.
100%.
It is actually baffling to me that they do not have a governing body that constitutes their stewards, the officiants, the people who are calling the shots on the field, and they do not have standardized people. It's baffling. It's idiotic.
Right, because when you have such loose rules around that, it allows for bias to trickle into the officiating.
Exactly, because where are they getting these people? What are their qualifications? Are they racist? I mean, basic questions, right? I mean, it shouldn't even be difficult. But I think today, F1 fans out there in the world, there's no combating what we're saying right now, because we saw the clearest day example with the Leclerc versus Piastri incident, and we saw the stewards not issue any penalty.
Leclerc,
so the fact that that happened in the same race makes it as clear as day the bias and the racism of the FIA.
Yeah, and we waited until the Charles Leclerc.
We said this is going to be the determining factor right now.
Yep.
This is going to clearly show if the FIA is against Lewis or if they are a fair body.
Yep.
And today they showed that they are solely against Lewis. And me and everybody else can only assume it's because of this right here. Because why are you not calling it fair?
Yeah. No.
There's no excuse. It's unacceptable. The FIA should get fined. The drivers should be able to get together and say, hey, they messed up the call of this race. They should get fined. Those stewards should be banned from calling a race for a year or 5 races or whatever it is. There should be consequences when stewards get calls obviously blatantly wrong. Yeah. There has to be consequences for them because they are directly influencing the outcome of races with these terrible calls. 100%. It's unacceptable.
Absolutely unacceptable.
And despite, the entire sporting body working against him, and with the damage of his car from the incident in which he had no opportunity to avoid, he still managed to get P4. So imagine what Lewis could do if the sporting body wasn't working against him. Because without that 5-second penalty, my guy's on the podium.
Yeah, for real.
This is another podium race for Lewis if the FIA does not cheat.
Yeah, literally. Show their bias immediately.
Period. Yeah. So, and it's just immensely frustrating. It's immensely annoying. And again, these Formula One races they're infrequent, right? So it's just like when they get a race wrong, this is going to linger for weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about this for weeks, about how blatantly, obviously, of an error this call was by the FIA.
Yeah.
It's going to linger around. Definitely. People are going to be chatting about it.
I can't wait to see the videos online of the comparisons between the two incidents.
Yeah. I mean, it's already started. I think we already saw the Peter Griffin picture where it's like the skin complexions and it's like the FIA okay, and it's all the white complexions, and then it's a picture of Lewis Hamilton, and then it's FIA not okay.
Yeah.
And it's a fact. That's literally how the FIA officiates his races. They've got binoculars on Lewis Hamilton, and then they're watching the rest of the races.
Yeah, literally though.
It's nuts. Yeah, just blatant racism. So I mean, that was the massive controversy in the race, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's really the thing that influenced, the entire order of the top pecking order.
Yeah.
So again, massively disappointing that they had the influence in it, and
so annoying.
But I guess despite that, obviously Antonelli got the win. Leclerc got on the podium, 2nd place. These are good points for Ferrari.
Yeah,
they're obviously in 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship and are, kind of keeping it relatively close with Mercedes. Mercedes still, once again, not able to get both cars across the line this weekend. So obviously that cuts into their Constructors' Championship. But it's pretty clear that Antonelli is going to run away with the championship at this point. It would take something pretty dramatic to happen with Mercedes' car or with their engine or something like that to really influence the outcome of what we're seeing.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I mean, look, you got to give it to Antonelli. The kid is unbelievably talented. I mean, he's got the fastest car and he knows how to drive it. Like, you cannot take anything away from his ability.
That's
like,
true.
You put him in the Williams. I don't know.
We'll see
I
what
don't know. I
happens.
don't know. I
But
don't know if we get the same outcome. But regardless, you could say that about probably most of the drivers that
no,
have
that's
that are
true.
racing out there. You know, if they're in a terrible car, they're probably not going to be able to do much. But Antonelli, he's got the machine and he's utilizing it. He's extracting every ounce of performance out of that Mercedes and he's making it pop. And
Yeah,
he's doing the thing. So you can't really hate on Antonelli. It's really cool that at such an age he's able to have this so much success. And I think his journey is really just beginning.
absolutely. I mean, he's so young.
Yeah,
This is literally what, his first season?
second season. Yeah,
Second
yeah.
season. Okay.
Yeah, and he skipped, of course, Formula 3 and 2. So,
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah,
Got
he
it.
like
Jumped
straight to
right up.
Formula
I guess
1.
that's why
So,
he got a documentary.
yeah. But yeah, so
um,
I mean, he's serious. Leclerc really didn't have any chance of defending the lead once he got it. The virtual safety car definitely helped out with that, getting
mhm.
Leclerc in that position initially to have the race lead. But I think we all knew with Antonelli behind him by only 3 seconds, he was
He
kind of
was
cooked.
cooked. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was cooked.
Yeah, he was cooked. Let's see, Verstappen obviously closed out the podium with his third place finish. Pretty quiet race from Max, honestly. He was not really in any drama or anything, just kind of raced, just kind of drove
Yeah,
his car.
literally.
People passed him, but Red Bull had a decent strategy. He was one of the first to pit, so he kind of pushed on the long stint with his tires and was able to secure this podium. So that was
Yeah.
solid. If we had 5 more laps, 10 more laps, I do think Lewis probably would have caught him, but obviously in a longer
And
track,
yeah,
there's less laps to
right.
kind of maneuver.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not going to do 70 laps on a minute and 45 long track.
You see, yeah, I
No
know. We would meet
way.
at our camping
3
gear,
hours.
snoozing out there.
Yeah. Oh my
um,
gosh.
and then yeah, there was some interesting fights, throughout like the race. Different kind of mid-table teams fighting, like the Red Bull second team, the
Hmm.
Racing Bulls. They were kind of fighting. Had some interesting moments with the Alpine and Pierre Gasly.
Interesting, but we didn't get to see any of
I know.
them. I was going to
And
say
again,
something
yeah.
else.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, just like they focus so heavily only on the top 7 to 10 places in the race.
Yeah.
10 might be
Yeah, I
generous.
was gonna say
Top
7.
like
Yeah,
5,
yeah.
maybe. But they'll show like the little tiny screen on the side to show, oh, this is happening with these drivers on like the further down on the table.
Yeah.
And then they won't show on the big screen. There's nothing happening on the big screen at the time
Crazy.
you're showing us that. Put it on the big
I
screen. I
know.
want to see what's happening. They said 3 cars in a row are all going around. And I was like, I can't see.
I know. Like it is just nuts. They put it on the screen that's like underneath the driver's names on the side. Guys, if there is action happening on track, that's what we want to see. They were showing us a clip of the two McLarens not even close to each other, just driving
Just
on the
having a
track.
casual Sunday drive.
Meanwhile, further back on track, the Racing Bulls in one of the Alpine went 3 across going into a turn, and we saw it on the little micro screen on the
I didn't even
side.
get to see it.
It's just crazy, guys. Flip the main feed. Let us see the racing action that's happening. The race is not just about the people at the front of the race. I've got my extra screen side on with Hamilton pulled up, so I got my racer. Let us see what's going on in the race.
Yeah, and not
everywhere on
everybody
the
pays
track.
for that.
Exactly.
Some people who
Exactly.
aren't, say, Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen or, McLaren, Mercedes fans,
Yeah.
they want to see their racers on the big screen too.
Facts.
Dang.
Yeah. Let us see what's going on further back down the track. Like
Yeah.
we should be getting to see those big moments, not just being subjugated to the replay of big moments.
I know.
You guys, if you can show us on the little screen, go ahead and put that on the main feed. I'm sorry, we can take one break from the top 6 drivers and look at someone else.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if there's nothing happening up top at the moment.
Yeah, and there was nothing.
Please,
Yeah.
we were just driving 3 in a row. It was like, all right, they're just hanging out there.
Yeah.
Oh, this whole big thing is. I was like, what do you mean?
It's like the commentators got the extra screen, but we don't get to see.
No, exactly.
Oh man, yeah, that was nuts.
Man.
It's like they need to create a screen that just has race action.
Yeah.
Don't follow what the commentators are talking about. Like, show us the race action. We want a race action screen added to the broadcast.
Exactly.
So we're actually involved in all the action. Because another one, it was like they were talking about something, and Carlos Sainz someone made a message about Carlos Sainz saying that one of his
Front wing or
wings
something
was like dangling off his car. We didn't get to
I
see
was
it.
like, I want to see that.
We
What's
wanted
going
to see
on?
the
What does
damage
that
on his
look like?
car. Didn't. And
They
then
have rear view cameras. They could have showed whoever, I don't know who said it, but they could have showed whoever's rear view camera so that we could also see
witness what they're
what was
talking
going
about.
on.
Yeah.
I
We
want to
didn't.
know.
And then when Carlos Sainz went and pitted, they changed his front wing, and he was like, what's happening to my wing? And we were all confused because they never showed us if he even had any damage.
Yeah.
Not to mention, we never got to see the damage on Piastri's car. How? He got hit. The damage on Piastri's car with Leclerc happened in the first like 20 laps. How was there no clip of Piastri's damage? Same with Lewis. Lewis got damage from the Russell incident. Literally never heard or got to see the damage on Lewis's car from that incident. Didn't get to hear the radio messages where the mechanics told him there was damage. Nothing. So where's our insight?
Yeah.
Not to mention they're not showing the battery deployment energy or like the top speeds. Like it's like they're hiding information from the fans.
It does feel like
we're
that.
just like
it
not
feels
getting
so weird.
Yeah, it's something just isn't
It's
right
like
right now in Formula
very
One.
like they're very specific about what they show on the screen and what they want people to see.
Exactly.
Which I think is so weird.
Yeah, they're trying to control the narrative.
Yeah.
They don't want all of the people, like fans who have been outright upset about the battery deployment, the top speeds, the engines losing things, all of these sorts of elements have been the main topic of discussion online. And it's almost like the FIA is trying to take away the ability for people to continue having those discussions by trying to control the narrative of every race.
Yes.
And they're controlling the narrative by only showing us certain graphics, only showing us certain action, making sure the commentators are only keyed in on certain elements of the race.
Yeah, being like very picky and choosy about what they're putting on the screen.
Yeah.
Which again is just so weird.
Yeah,
Why
I don't appreciate that. We should be able to see the battery deployment. We should know how fast the racers are driving. Like that's just common sense. Like they're hiding that information because again, they don't want people to criticize the battery deployment and how fast they're going. And
they're changing it next season already. Let people criticize it. Who cares?
I know, it's right. The FIA has already acknowledged that the regulations are not working as they were intended to, which is why they've already made changes for the 2027 season.
Yeah.
So yeah, what is the point of trying to control the narrative? I think it's damage control, honestly.
Yeah,
they're trying to still hype up the season and make things seem like it's all pretty on the surface, when in reality, you've got Aston Martin that can't even complete a competitive lap. You've got Cadillac struggling to complete races, struggling to even get speed. Like, you've got teams that are racing in Formula One that don't even look like they belong in Formula One.
Facts. And also, 2 other people didn't finish the race.
We got very little information.
What happened to that?
Yeah, no information on why those people had to leave the race at all. And again, I don't know, even if the announcer is saying something in passing, we should be seeing the car get rolled back into the garage, you know, like...
Yeah, because I'm not keying in on every single little thing
the
commentator's saying. Please.
Exactly.
I can't
impossible.
do that.
It's like getting a lecture, you know what I'm saying? You're obviously going to miss things. We need to see things that are happening around like the racetrack.
Yeah, because then you can connect what they're saying to what's happening.
And we saw like a very brief like view of like the lockup that happened where someone else went off the track, but it was just like all of those incidents were just like kind of swept under the rug
immediately.
So yeah, a little bit frustrating with that. And it's just like, you know, they obviously issued Lewis's penalty because of the outcome to George, right? Because George was unable to continue.
That's not his fault, though.
Literally not Lewis's fault or problem, because once again, as we know, it was a driving incident.
Yeah.
But also, if you look at the implications of the Leclerc-Piastri incident, I mean, Piastri's race was compromised as well because of the damage on his car. So, like, again, we've got to look at the officiants and what they're weighing up in when they're making these decisions, because they ain't using the same scale for every racer.
Oh no, absolutely.
And that's not right.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of on that with like the incidents and what is going on, what did you think about the incident with Lewis and like the pit lane? I know they're investigating it after the race, but
what is Lewis supposed to do? He sees the green light means go. I mean, at the end of the day, when I'm at a stoplight and the light turns green, I go. So
someone runs the other red light, that's not your fault.
I'm not sure what the stewards would want the driver to do when he sees a green light. So again, I think it's just another example of them targeting Lewis because it's the GOAT. they want to punish him, and I don't know what the point is, why they're coming after Lewis this way. But it's just the epitome of what he's experienced throughout his career, right? The FIA has always targeted him for various things, for the rings, for the tattoos, for his outfit, like, you know what I'm saying? For his support of LGBTQ, for his support of Palestine. It's just like, they don't like Lewis because of who Lewis is. And just because he's, the GOAT. But yeah, for whatever reason, I'm not sure what their issue is, but I personally don't think that there is anything Lewis can do in that situation. He's probably, like, when you're in the pit lane, you're probably just staring up at the light. What
you can't watch the people around.
He's not hopping out the car to change his own tires. Bro is locked in on his one thing. When can I go again?
Facts.
So as soon as that light turns green, go.
Yeah. Anything outside of that, he really can't do anything about. Like, I don't know what was happening. I'm sure we'll see replays online, but I don't know what was happening.
Well, it was a miscommunication because the engineer was most likely going to adjust Lewis's front wing because Lewis wanted the extra downforce because he had the damage from the Russell incident.
Right. Okay.
So again, just a miscommunication of what was going on in the pit lane.
Got it.
Because again, that should have been happening simultaneously with the tire change, but it wasn't.
Right. And then he almost had like an afterthought, like, oh, I should check this, and then when they put the car down,
it was
Lewis
too
was
late.
Obviously going
So you once you put the car down, I mean, that's not on Lewis at all. So we'll see what happens with that, but it really should be nothing. And I got to give credit for Lewis as well, because despite the frustration of serving an unjust 5-second penalty, despite the frustration of the slower pit stop in situation, the first thing my guy does before he even gets out of the pit lane is ask if the engineer was okay.
Yeah.
And in the heat of the race and all of these things, it just shows Lewis's character. The fact that he was the first thing making sure the engineer was okay.
Yeah, and not like, oh, what was this idiot doing?
I know, right? Yeah, can you imagine? No. Yeah,
he obviously wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
but he's just such a class act.
Yeah, facts all around. So I think it's just a situation of like, when it rains, it pours. They really had Lewis in their sights for this race, and they made sure to get him in any chance they could. So just massively unfortunate, but I still think with what Lewis was able to salvage, a 4th place finish, great points, that are going to help him throughout the season. So inevitably, still got to be happy with that. I think, Ferrari has made some good developmental steps. We're seeing that, with even Leclerc's finishes getting better as well. Ferrari is definitely making steps in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So it's really just going to be, how can they truly close that performance gap to Antonelli, so Charles and Lewis can actually put up a fight on track.
Like podium.
Exactly. To challenge that. So that's really going to be the challenge right now. I think McLaren looked a little bit better this weekend.
Definitely.
They're obviously
finished the race.
Yeah, they're not dominating like last season, but it is pretty surprising that they haven't had any races in which they've dominated like last season. It's
kind of weird. Well, I guess the whole engine change, I guess.
Right. It's like a big pendulum swing.
Kind of got that.
I know, but again, you got to ask the question. These teams are powered by the Mercedes power unit. So how is Mercedes able to extract so much more than these other teams with the same power unit? You got to ask a question about that.
Knowledge.
Yeah, well, definitely have the inside knowledge on the engine, but I'm just like, I don't know. Did they get the same power unit? I don't know.
That's a good question, actually. I guess they don't necessarily have to give like the same exact power unit, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I don't know exactly how
what that looks like.
Engine supplier rules work, to be honest, but yeah, interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that, see what else happens with the teams that are powered by Mercedes but not having the same performance as Mercedes.
Same speed.
But I think, overall Ferrari got to keep making strides, keep cutting down, keep staying close in the constructors. And, obviously for Ferrari, you got to prop up both drivers. I think, the strategy, everything, it's got to be for both drivers. You want both drivers to get across the line. That's going to be the only hope of winning the Constructors' Championship and snatching it from Mercedes, is making sure both drivers are able to finish as close to podium as possible in every race.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be massively important. Because that's really the difference between the two teams. One team's got both drivers finishing races. One team's got one driver finishing races. But that one driver's finishing in first. So he's getting maximum points. So he's keeping them. He's keeping them up there.
But
anyway, so it was pretty interesting. Belgian Grand Prix. I mean, obviously a pretty historic racetrack and everything, so it's always cool seeing the drivers, you know, race up the hill and around the corners. So so yeah, it was a pretty entertaining race. Just hoping that the stewards and the FIA can get their bullshit sorted out and stop being biased and racist, obviously, because they're influencing the outcome of races. But apart from that, the racing was pretty good. It was tight up top, you know, everyone was relatively close for majority of the race, and yeah, that was good. So, so overall pretty entertaining Belgian Grand Prix, and of course we're glad Lewis Hamilton still got P4 despite all of the cards being stacked up against him.
Yes, facts. Yeah. So if you made it this far,
thanks for watching,
and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.